The Dallas Cowboys have one option. This team doesn't feel like the team who came up short versus San Francisco in back-to-back seasons. The coaching staff has been revamped, and among all moves, out goes Kellen Moore, in comes Brett Schottenheimer, who's coached some pretty successful Jets teams and flat out went off with Russell Wilson for a few years, and also, we got Mike Check calling the plays for this campaign. After being able to keep Dan Quinn despite him having a resume that could have easily landed him on any other team, Dan Quinn stated in his reasoning for staying, "We got unfinished business." Add in trading for the stud veteran corner Stephon Gilmore, trading for Brandon Cooks, who wakes up with 1,000 yards per season, and to retain Tony Pollard per tag after a breakout season. It seems to me that the Dallas Cowboys are honed in on finally getting back to and winning their first Super Bowl since 1996. But it has to be, because what is the other option? The Dallas Cowboys have a solid young core after hitting draft picks Trayvon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons out of the park, and Tyler Smith, who showed up big time after being forced into a critical role due to Terrence Steele's injury. However, we all know how the business of football works, and Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, and CeeDee Lamb can end up figuratively and literally breaking the bank. So with that in mind, the Dallas Cowboys know that they have huge decisions ahead of them, and they won't be easy to make at all. Outside of that young core, we have the foundation of America's team for the past decade. Fun fact that may stun some newer fans, in 2014, Tyron Smith signed an 8-year, $97.6 million contract extension, and his contract is up in 2024. Tyron Smith at this point in his career still remains an all-pro talent when healthy. But that's the key word when I'm talking about Tyron Smith, when healthy. In addition to that, we have their other Hall of Fame offensive lineman, Zach Martin. It just has to be understood that while these guys are Hall of Fame linemen, while these guys are all-pro players, they don't age backwards. And I mean, these two players have meant so much and exerted their all on the football field for Dallas over the past decade, and sending them out with the Super Bowl would be the ultimate movie-like storyline. However, if things don't go as planned, money will be looking funny after this upcoming season. Behind the stars, we got guys like Stephon Gilmore, Jordan Lewis, Dorrance Armstrong, Tyler Biadasz, and Terrence Steele, who are up for contracts after this season. And Trayvon Diggs, who we all know is up. So I think it's a very interesting spot that you find yourselves in right now. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Mr. Dak Prescott. Dallas fans, I want you to comment Super Bowl under this video if you still believe in Dak Prescott. Unpopular opinion, but I actually like Dak. I think Dak is a quarterback that can lead a team to a Super Bowl, and it's hard to defend games like the divisional round versus San Francisco. It's hard to defend games like the wild card game versus San Francisco the previous year, where you didn't get down. But I also believe that Dak Prescott has all of the talent. I believe he can make the throws. Coming off the ankle injury, I believe he's still an athlete, can still get out of the pocket. And we can also take it off the field where he is a great leader for the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm very hyped for this season as a football fan in general. And to me, I believe the NFC East has become the strongest division once again in the NFC after being the worst just a few years ago. Contrary to what some may believe, I think Mike McCarthy has been a godsend for this team. The Dallas Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl or got to a Super Bowl, but Mike McCarthy has really changed the vision of this team. You know, previously, if the Dallas Cowboys didn't make it to a Super Bowl, it was kind of a laughing stock. Now, if the Dallas Cowboys don't make it or even don't win the Super Bowl, it's not nothing to laugh at. It's kind of a disappointment because this is a team, especially this year, who is expected to go far and do it at a very high level. Let's see how they stack up against their NFC East components. We got the Washington Commanders, still have a stout defense, probably going to address that in the draft. Quarterback is still the question. I think if you love football, then you love Terry McLaurin. But also, I like Brian Robinson. I like Curtis Samuel. I absolutely love Eric Bieniemy being on this team. And, of course, I love Jahan Dotson. But there's still some question marks that need to be answered within this draft and on the football field itself before we can put the Commanders up there with the elite of the NFC East. The Giants, they have also made some sweet moves, having one of the best head coaches in football with Brian Dable, having Wink Martindale, acquiring Paris Campbell, acquiring Darren Waller, still having Danny Dimes, Saquon Barkley, adding to the defense with Bobby Oruke, and still have draft capital to add more to it. Pretty solid team. Looking at the Eagles, we know what the Eagles are, and we're looking at the Eagles dead in the eye. It's face-to-face right now. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys are in an arms race for who's going to make it to the Super Bowl next. Mike McCarthy and all of Dallas's fans understand that the Philadelphia Eagles are coming off of a Super Bowl appearance, but quite frankly, they don't care because that's flushed and that's last season. So who's going to make it back next? Dakota Rain Prescott is currently 29 years old, and I think he understands the magnitude of the challenge that he faces ahead of him. So Cowboys fans, fasten all seatbelts. The draft is almost here, and it's time to see what Mr. Mike and Jerry have up their sleeves. It's time to win big, but then again, it's the only option. What you gonna do?